Hello, Hoop World. My name is Tuck Clary. I write for Slipper Still Fits and Busting Brackets. Joining me, my co-host, the podcasting extraordinaire, Austin King. And we have a very special guest today. He is the co-director of Under Armour Future, former D1 and D2 coach, the coordinator for Under Armour Association and Under Armour Rise, the skilled sports hoops report scout, the extraordinaire Dee Coleman out of Memphis. How are you doing, Dee?
I'm good. Thank you guys for having me today.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. We would love your insight on some of these guys we're interested in and kind of confounded by in some cases. Um, so we're recording this on Saturday. Alabama just completely dismantled Kentucky thoroughly and decisively. And D, we just wanted to talk, of course, about a guy that Austin and I both love. That we're buying all the stock that we can. What are your thoughts on freshman wing Brandon Miller?
Yes. For me, I think Brandon Miller is my favorite prospect in this year's draft.
Ooh,
He reminds
favorite.
me a lot. He is my favorite. He reminds me a
over
lot of
over Wembenyama, over Scoot. You got
yes,
to know him.
yes.
Whoa, whoa,
But
whoa,
I,
whoa, whoa,
I
whoa,
think
whoa.
I don't think that he's better than
Okay,
those guys.
Okay,
okay.
okay.
But
It's
he
just
is
you
he
have
is
a crush on Brandon
he,
Miller.
Yeah,
he
we're
is my
crushing.
personal favorite.
Okay,
He is my
all right,
personal
all right,
favorite.
all right.
I think Wembanyama, number one overall pick, lock, stock, barrel.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
happening. I think Scoot Henderson, hell of an athlete, probably the best point guard that you can pick in this year's draft. But after that, my favorite prospect is Brandon Miller. He's
Okay,
6'9",
so
6'10",
you got him
put the
over
ball
on
on the
men
ground.
too.
You got him over Amen?
Yeah. And
Wow.
I've seen
Woo!
Amin and Soar live at Curry Camp. They're freak athletes. My thing is I'm a little skeptical they're shooting at the next level. So
Yes.
Brandon can shoot, he can drive, he's long, he's athletic, he rebounds, he can guard. So he kind of reminds me of a bit of a Brandon Ingram, but better on a defensive end. So I like that in Brandon, and that's why
Okay.
he's my favorite prospect in the
Okay.
2023 draft.
Brandon is 6'9" plus wingspan. He's coming into college. He's already 20 years old. Some people are knocking that. What is your take on guys that are a little older? Maybe not so with experience, but just coming in at an older age.
Right. I think we kind of got to get away from that because once you get the league, age goes out the window. You're playing against grown men every single day. I know you want to draft these 18, 19-year-olds that are one and done, or like Victor Wembanyama comes from overseas, like a Luka Doncic or something like that. But the guy's only a year older than those guys, so he's still in that school. I don't think it should be too much focus on him being a 20-year-old freshman. Where Asur and Amen, they are both 18 years old right now. So when the draft comes, by the time they play an NBA game, they'll be 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So they're a little bit older as well. So it's not like they're not in the kind of, I guess, position. So.
Mm-hmm.
Sir and Amen are playing against like significantly worse competition.
Exactly.
In my opinion.
Exactly.
Like, oh yeah.
I think the main thing for like, oh, he's a little bit older is like, well, he's a little farther along in his development. So if he's putting up better numbers, then like there's a reason for that, which is he's older, so he's a farther ahead in the process. But like when you compare Brandon Miller's numbers to Amen or Asar, you have to also factor in that basically they're playing like prep schools.
Right.
They're not
Right.
playing high level college players. Like in
Right.
college now,
And
especially with the COVID year, you got guys that are 24,
25.
25 years old.
25-year-olds. He's playing against grown men that would be in the
Yes.
NBA, the
Yes.
same age men that are in the NBA. So,
100%.
like Oscar Sheboy. Oscar Sheboy, 24 years old.
Yeah.
He's a veteran in NCAA college basketball. So he's playing against that type of competition.
100%. So Tuck and I have talked about Brandon a fair amount. one of the things that has worried us is his ability to finish at the rim. Right now, he's taking about 30% of his shots at the rim. He's only shooting 48% at the rim, and only 22% of those are assisted on. So it's basically all dribble drive off a pick and roll or in semi transition, him taking the ball and getting downhill, and he's not finishing well at the rim. What do you attribute that issue for him? And do you think there is a way for him to improve, or is this just, hey, this is going to be a serious limitation in his game, and he's really only going to be an elite 3-point shooter and solid to good pick and roll ball handler, slash, maybe he's going to be a pick and pop guy at the next level?
Right. I think that one of the main reasons that Brandon might struggle is he's not the biggest on the court anymore. He was in high school. So you have guys that are protecting him. You got to finish over them, finish through contact. So I think he's to going from a high school player to finishing with college contact. And as long as whoever his trainer is, they continue to develop that, maybe give him some flow, maybe pound him with a pad as he's going up to finish at the rim, and then he'll start to that percentage will start to go up. So I definitely think he can work on it and get better at it. I don't think he'll always be a low percentage at the rim kind of guy, but it's also on him and his trainer if that's an area that they think that they need to work at.
Yeah, I think he had a pretty nice finish today in kind of semi
Yes.
transition, caught it on the wing, took two nice dribbles and finished through contact. Like, I think some of it is just strength and ability. And,
Yeah.
like, maybe he doesn't
And
have the
also,
burst that we would like from him, but
I also think that he doesn't play above the rim as much as he should.
no, he
Because
does.
Which is
if you play
crazy.
up if he does play above the rim more often than not, then he's gonna finish those through contact.
Which is crazy because like the number one thing folks talked about when he was coming into college was like his springs. Like that dude gets up. He's able to
He
get up.
does.
And for whatever reason, he's not really playing above the rim like you mentioned as much in college. With his shooting, clearly he's just knocking down absurd shots. He made a couple days ago like a 45-foot 3-pointer, just like not even set, just pulling up last second. What about his shooting do you think is going to project to the next level? It seems like he could only become even better of a shooter considering the amount of defensive coverage he's getting.
Right. And with the way that the NBA is going, like they want everybody to shoot the ball. So he's only going to continue to shoot the ball. What I did hear earlier on the broadcast was that the announcers were saying NBA scouts are kind of worried about he has a slow release.
Hmm.
But he's also 6. So I think if he can rise above you and he at least then he's fine. But they might try to getting the ball out of his hands a little quicker. But you don't alter his shot. You just tell him, hey, instead of taking 2 seconds to shoot the ball, let's shave off zero point 0.8 seconds from that, so it takes you 1 to shoot the ball now. And then that zero point 0.8 seconds makes a huge difference because now he's getting it off faster and it allows him to knock it down at a more efficient.
Yeah, but the thing is with him, even if it's a slower and a little bit of a lower release, which we've seen people try to concern troll around low releases. Ask Tyrese Halliburton how that's going. Pretty
Exactly.
well, pretty well. But the other thing is like Brandon Miller is a legitimately very good, tough shot maker. Like it's not like when
Yes.
he's closely guarded, it's like, man, he just can't do it. Like he can't make it. That's not the case with Brandon
Right.
Miller at all. I'm curious, Dee, what you thought in that first half. We saw Brandon struggle against Jacob Toppin to some degree. What do you think he struggled with the most? And how did he adjust in the second half? Because he did end up finishing the game with 19 points, went 7 for 15 from the field, 2 of 6 from three, and also had 7 rebounds.
I think as a whole, in the first half, Alabama wasn't able to really push the ball like that. And I think Brandon has to get going like early, and he wasn't able to do that. So It just took some time. They had to run some sets for him. He had to knock down a shot. I think he hit 1 3-pointer in the first half.
Yeah.
Got to the free throw line, hit a
Mhm.
couple free throws. But I think they just had to get him going. And in the second half, he got going. So he went from 7 points and he scored what was that? 11, 12 in the
He
second
scored
half.
12 in the second half. He had
So
7 in the first. Yeah.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I think that he got going a little more. They got out in transition a lot more in the second
Yep.
half because their defense was like on top of Kentucky.
Yep.
He was able to, and then also make shots. So
Yeah.
you got to get him going early.
I think what's tough about and what's very different in the college game from the NBA game is like Jacob Toppin was essentially just face guarding and only guarding Brandon Miller. And it's like you can't really do that in the NBA. Like
Not
you
at
have
all.
to be you have to be way more connected. So like that style of defense can't really be played against an NBA player. The other thing is that Alabama is so pick and roll heavy, but they struggled setting those good ball screens on Toppin to free up Brandon Miller at all. And then when they tried to set like pin downs for him off ball to get him going, they weren't setting them low enough or well enough to actually get him freed up. Brandon's a good athlete, but Jacob Toppin is equally as
He's a freak
good,
athlete himself.
if not better. And so when you don't have great screen setting and setting them in the right positions, and you don't execute that properly, you're just not going to be freed up, especially when
Yeah.
someone is, not playing help side defense at all, not making like you're not switching anybody off. He's sticking to you the whole time, and his sole job is just to try and make your life hell, which is just not going to be an issue at the NBA level, which it can be in the college level, which we see over and over
Right.
again where great players in the NBA, they had times where they really struggled when they were younger in college basketball because the style of defense and the court size is just shrunk down. It's just
Yeah.
smaller. And so it is just different.
Okay, so there is another dude on the Alabama team that I know has caught Austin King's eye. He's a fast riser after this game for our associate Austin. Noah Clowney, 6'10" freshman. He's super young. He's not even going to be 19 by draft day. He kind of does everything on both ends. Austin, what about Noah has you so infatuated?
Okay, there's a number of reasons, but I mean, primarily it's on the defensive end. Like he is extremely long. He has the body and the frame that I think he can add quite a bit of weight and still maintain that athleticism and fluidity. He is such a good and versatile defender where if you want to play him in an all switching scheme, he can do that. I mean, he had plays where he went from guarding Damian Collins to switching out on Antonio Reeves, face guarding Antonio Reeves. So one, that's knowing the scout, knowing that Antonio Reeves, which is not a guy that you're supposed to guard, that he can switch out, know that he's a 3-point shooter, stick with him, then switch back again with Brandon Miller onto Damian Collins. Brandon Miller actually gets the block after a perfectly executed switch. He can protect the rim. He's one of the better rim protectors in college basketball as a freshman. And that's not just as an off ball rim protector coming off of the weak side, but on ball, like if you're going to post him up or you're going to come directly at him, he's able to block shots that way. If you want to play a drop coverage, if you want to ice pick and rolls with him, like he's capable of doing it all. And he is just such a versatile defender and athlete where I think you can play him at the 4 or the 5 if he's able to put on weight or in those small ball lineups. You can have true rim protection with a guy like Noah Clowney in the NBA. I'm not going to say he's, fucking Evan Mobley out there, but he fits that mold. I kind of like him as like a more fluid Miles Turner as far as the defender, but a little bit more switchable. The thing is too with Noah is he's a capable offensive player. Like
Mm-mm.
he's pretty solid in transition. I think he has a real potential to be a good 3-point shooter. I like his 3-point motion and like mechanics for the most part. He's only shooting 30% from three right now, but I think that will improve with time. His free throw percentage not great, which is the bigger indicator of what your 3-point percentage is going to be at the NBA level. But he's shooting 69% from two right now. And he is shooting at the rim. What is he shooting? 62%, or I'm sorry, 72%. And then 62% of those are assisted on. So it's not like he's just strictly a lob threat, and that's the only way he's finishing, and that's why he has a high percentage. He's, 40% of the time, he's off the bounce finishing at the rim. And I think that's something that a lot of guys that are, rim runners, really big athletic guys don't typically do. And at such a young age, showing that kind of skill set, to me, he has lottery upside. And right now, I have him at 14 on my big board.
Jeez.
Um, because
Ooh.
I know that might be crazy, but I'm gonna take a super switchable big that has the potential to stretch the floor. I know can protect the rim, can play in multiple schemes, and has a good frame. Like I'm gonna take that over, a guy like Jet Howard or Chris Murray, which I have real questions about. Whereas I see the upside of Clowney, the type of defensive player that he could be a potential anchor for a team.
This is a question for both you and Dee. So Noah, he's not just a great shooter at the rim and shows potential at three. He's a 62% shooter on jumpers right now, but he's only, because of Nate Oates' system, only shot like 9% of his shots from there. Do you guys project him out to be that kind of either at the rim or 3-point shooter like the NBA is shifting to, or could we see him develop a mid-range game like pretty consistently?
I think it'll be based on who drafts him.
Mm,
So and their needs. Like say for instance, the Nets, they don't need Nick Claxton to shoot threes.
right.
They're not gonna ask him to develop that, shoot mid-range jumpers. So they're not gonna ask him to develop that. So if he goes to a team where their system is asking him to shoot more consistently as a jump shooter, then I think he will develop that. And I also think that's also on him. Like, is that a will? Is that a want for him? Does he want to shoot, or is he fine in a pick and pop 3-point shooter and a person that catches it on the low block and can go to work in the post? So those are the two things that I think will determine if he is improving his jump shot.
Yeah, and I think Tuck, the question is like, what kind of mid-range shots is he taking? Is it like, all right, he sets a pin down screen and he kind of pops to the ball after setting that pin down because his man either, is going towards like over commits or something like that and he makes a read? Or is it something where he can be a legitimate mid-range threat on the short roll? Because then that makes it even more difficult in certain pick and roll coverages to guard him. And it makes him a three-level scorer where you can't just be like, hey, every time that Noah Clowney is setting a pick in the pick and roll, we know that he's a roll man or we know he's going to pop. And so we're comfortable with switching that because, yeah, he's going to be able to shoot over anybody, but he's only shooting 32 or 33% off threes. We're not going to worry about it too much. But if he can be a short roller, and be like a 3-level threat, then that's a difference maker. And that's like a pretty good sign that he's shooting at that level. The question is, can he be a good decision maker in the pick and roll person? Can he make the right read? And is he capable of making those passes? But like right now, a team like Utah, for example, at 13, like putting him next to Larry Markkinen, or you could put him next to Walker Kessler. Like, imagine him and Walker Kessler playing together.
Oh yeah, I mean, like
That's Jared Allen and Evan Mobley shit
Evan
right
Mobley,
there.
yep.
Yeah. Like,
he's got a 4.7% block rate. He's a dog on the boards too. Like he's an incredible offensive rebounder and defensive rebounder. I do worry about that decision making. He's pretty turnover prone. He has, I think he's averaging over 2
the
turnovers
whole
a game.
team, all of
Yeah,
Alabama.
that whole Alabama team is turnover prone. But seeing his ability to like connect on plays is going to be a big thing for me, because if a team doesn't task him with that, I think, like, he's going to be a great piece on a team. It's just
Yeah.
trying to figure out that ceiling is, it's just, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know on those decision making fronts.
Yeah. Right now in conference play, so 3 games, he has a 119 offensive rating per Ken Palm. So that's definitely a nice sight to see. And against some of the better competition, he's been pretty good, outside of, I guess, that game against Connecticut, he wasn't phenomenal, but he wasn't bad. Like, in North Carolina, he struggled, but he didn't really play. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I definitely see him being, like, definitely lottery potential. I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't go there, but he has all the tools to be that guy where, uh, we'll talk about a guy a little bit later that I am much, much lower on. I am very curious to hear what Dee has to think.
And what's interesting with Clowney is I had him to, like, back in November as like a middle of the second round guy, but I think he's like one of the clear risers of this
Undoubtedly.
season that's going to be work his way into the first round. And if Austin King gets his way into the lottery,
Yeah, I'm gonna manifest no Clowney.
I would love to see your big board right before the draft, and he
Noah
goes any
Clowney.
higher.
Noah
Clowney
right now.
be the number 2 pick in the draft. Put him
Yeah.
over 2.
It's gonna go Victor, Noah, Scoot, Brandon.
Okay, but was I convincing at all? Did I at least defend my case of putting him in the lottery well enough?
I think you had a very educated response on why you believe.
Okay, all right.
Why
You're not
you believe.
in the lottery.
Yeah, why you believe it,
but so there's another guy that played in that Kentucky Alabama game that is probably one of the fastest risers when thinking about from his junior year in high school to today. Interestingly enough, he has a lower usage rate than Noah Clowney does, but he is by far and widely considered one of the best guard prospects in college basketball. Probably the most debated on early lottery pick or mid lottery pick of this season. Dee, what are your thoughts on Kentucky's Cason Wallace?
First off, I think Cason is playing the wrong position in Cal's offense. I think Severe Wheeler slowed Kentucky down. And if you make Cason the one, he also doesn't have the right pieces around it. But if Cason's the primary point guard, I think Kentucky's a lot better offensively. Defensively, because he's a bigger guard. He can switch probably 1 through 4. He's very good. He plays very well with pace. You can't slow him up. I mean, you can't speed him up. And, like, he picks and chooses where he goes and things like that. I do want to shoot the ball consistently more in games. Like, I think today versus Alabama, I don't know if he went like 1 for 5 or something.
It was rough.
So
and
I do want to see
fouled him out in the first half too. He got 2 fouls with 16 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, he played 5. He played 5 minutes in the first half.
Cal needs to stop that shit. I do not understand why coaches.
But he's down to like a 8-man roster, 9-man roster right now. So I can kind of see why Cal's doing that. But yeah, I definitely think Cason would be a really good point guard in the NBA if he's on the right team. I don't think he's gonna be like a high lottery pick. I think he'll be like mid to late lottery.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Do you see him being the primary ball handler on an NBA team?
I do. The right system,
Really? Okay.
the right team, I do. I do think that Cason Wallace can be a guard in the NBA.
Interesting.
In my opinion, that is his
I
position.
view him more as like a combo, like where he's playing the two a lot. He can be on ball, but his shooting provides like because I don't think his handle's there necessarily. Uh, uh,
Mm,
that's why I'm a little hesitant. And like decision making wise, I'm not sure he's going to be enough of a distributor. But one thing that I do love about Cason, take a guess what Cason Wallace in transition is shooting at the rim. What do you think his
Oh
field
my
percentage
God.
is at the rim?
78%.
Try 100%, D. Just literally not miss.
How many shots have been at the rim?
20, what's 20% of 40? He's had 40 transition attempts, 20% of them have been at the rim. He's shooting 100%. So pretty good. He's shooting 80% on the season at the rim.
He's 8 for 8.
That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. I mean, now he's only getting 20% of his shots at the rim, and that's Oscar Sheboy's fault. That's Coach Cal's fault. That clogged offense is disgusting to watch. And if he had a little bit more spacing, we'd see him getting to the rim and being more aggressive because he's a really, really good line, like straight line driver, and is a total dog. And I would like to see that more. He's shooting on the season 46% from three. 51% of his total shots are coming from the 3-point line. 90% of those are assisted on, though. Do you see him developing into a guy that can shoot off the bounce, or is he going to primarily be a guard that is just shooting catch and shoot threes?
I don't know if I can answer that question right now. I gotta kind of go back and watch the film.
Yeah.
But with the ball at such a high rate, I think that it can be developed.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why he's not taking off the dribble threes, which Cal might chew him out for taking off the dribble three. He might tell him, "Hey,
He might not have the ball in his hands enough, too.
He's got he's got less usage than Noah Clowney does, and he's probably the best shooter on Kentucky's team.
Yeah.
What is going on with Kentucky, man? I don't get it. I wanted to talk to you about Chris Livingston, but Chris is going to have to find some other opportunities, I feel like, before he goes.
I don't know if he this is kind of the BJ Boston year of Kentucky for Cal.
I see that vision.
You get the talent, and then just
which is wow.
Not.
Okay.
So, hold on. I gotta do a comp here. Sorry to cut in. What do you guys think Devin Booker as a 3-point shooter at Kentucky? What percent of the threes that he made were assisted on?
I have no idea. It's been so long.
Devin Booker is a very good off the dribble 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
Now, and yeah.
How much were his shots assisted?
I'm gonna give you 90%.
60%.
I'm gonna give you no, D. 90%. Are you gonna take above or below 90% of his shots were assisted on?
I see.
Above.
I can't above
because
we know you.
At Kentucky,
98.3. 98.3. Literally was not allowed to shoot off the bounce threes.
Not just that. That Kentucky team was so deep.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
And they had so many other players that
you want to know what's insane?
Was probably only asked to shoot the ball. Because Tyler Hero probably has a similar number to that as well.
Yeah, what was Tyler's assistant rate?
Okay, but I just got to say, Aaron Harrison and Andrew Harrison took more shots than Karl Anthony Towns. That's insane. What
Anthony Towns is soft.
Yeah, he is, but okay, Tyler Hero.
The wet tissue.
81.7% of his threes were
Jesus. That considering what his game is in the NBA, like, bro. Like, okay,
and that goes to show that Cal is telling these guys, you shoot off the dribble and you'll be sitting right here next to me.
Stop going to Kentucky.
Yo,
Stop.
stop going to okay.
Stop going to Kentucky.
D, we I had a conversation with Austin yesterday that I want your opinion on. We have a
Okay.
comp for Cal. Cal, as a recruiter and a coach, is kind of like one of those resale car lot owners who is just has a souped up Escalade all the time, and it just depreciates throughout the entire time. He gets these high profile 5-star recruits. He doesn't advance their game at all. He just makes them do like the most basic rudimentary ideas of what they're supposed to contribute on offense, and eventually just trades them in for another new Escalade, and then if there's not a lot of mileage on it, it's a great car to get from this dude afterwards. He's got dealer plates on all of them. It doesn't go anywhere. Like, why would you choose Kentucky outside of the clout? Like, is there anything about, I mean, yeah, there's a track to the NBA, but is that because of Cal, or is that simply because of what you were in recruiting before getting to Kentucky?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's a little bit of both. It's more so on the player, yeah, because you got to show up and you got to do what you were being recruited to do. But Kentucky is also who Kentucky is, and since Cal has been there, he's had years where he's had 5 first-round draft picks. He's had years where he's had 2 first-round draft picks, 3,
But
4.
which one of those kids didn't come in as a first round pick, and then you're like, oh, that kid's a first round pick now because of what he's done at Kentucky under Calipari? Like, name me a player that you're like, wow, their draft stock has drastically improved going to Kentucky. I genuinely don't think I could name a single player that went from wow.
I think Tyler Hero's draft stock made him. He went from a 3-4 year player to a one and done player by going to Kentucky instead of Wisconsin.
I think that's fair.
But that's just because
that's like it, right?
Watch Wisconsin basketball.
Yeah, and Tyler's like the main person that just pops into my head because he was born in Wisconsin. Wisconsin was, I think, Bo Ryan was the coach, maybe their new coach now, but I think
they switched over to guard at that point.
I don't think he would have been on that same track as a one and done player had he stuck with Wisconsin.
I agree.
Could you imagine what Tyler Hero would be like if he went to Wisconsin and didn't end up in Miami, by the way? That dude was built for those two destinations.
Could you imagine Tyler Hero being in the Kohl Center just screaming, I'm a fucking bucket to all the Wisconsin fans?
And then singing the fight song at the end of the game?
Him teamed up with Brad Davidson? Jesus Christ.
Bo would have still been there, right? Like, he would have been playing for Bo, right? Or Greg wasn't there yet.
Let's see.
But just like, imagine like Bo just being like, all right, you got to slow down the tempo, Tyler. You're going too fast, bro.
When did Greg Gard take over? No, Greg Gard took over in 2016. So
it would have been Greg.
It might have, that would have been his freshman year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, still, I mean,
I think no. Was he 2019?
Tyler Hero was on the 2017 2018 2019
2019.
Yeah. So he would have been Greg Gard.
Would have been
still, that's Bo Ryan's offense. Like,
yeah.
He would have still.
He would have hated it.
Imagine Tyler Hero hanging out with Brad Davison.
Yeah, it's just tough.
It's just tough to picture. Hard to picture. But like, okay, so with Cason, do you see like a world where Cason is like one of the primary scorers on a team, or do you think that he's largely going to fill the role of connecting and then playing tough defense? Like, do you see him being a two-way guy or predominantly a defensive guy?
I think he can become a Drew Holiday-like player.
Okay.
It'll take time. It'll take proper development, but I think because it took Drew the proper development to become who Drew Holiday is today. Drew Holiday didn't come into the league out of UCLA, who we know Drew Holiday as of today.
Definitely not.
So the right team drafts Cason, the right coaches get in Cason's ear, the right player development happens for Cason, and yes, he can become that two-way guard like a Drew Holiday.
If there was a team in the lottery that you would be like, this is the best case scenario for Cason Wallace, what team would it be?
That's tough.
Let me run a draft simulator.
Sure.
Lotto simulator. Okay, so we all pretty much agree he's somewhere between 8 and 14. Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah,
The eighth pick
that's
is
fair.
eighth pick is Toronto. Ninth pick is DC. 10th Oklahoma City, Atlanta, Orlando, Utah, Phoenix.
Toronto.
They need a guard bad.
Toronto.
Desperately.
He would, and
if they keep Van Vliet too, like he'd be a nice fit next to FVP.
Do you think they're keeping Van Vliet? I don't know.
I don't think so, but if they did.
And then you become even stronger defensively because Scottie Barnes is going to guard, Pascal Siakam is going to guard. So now you have your front court players that are going to guard. You just add another guard that can guard because Fred is too small. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, Fred's too small,
point guards are going to shoot over him. Like he can't guard your best.
Are you allowed to say bad things about Fred VanVleet?
I'm not going to necessarily say that I'm saying bad things about him because he's a great player.
Yeah,
he's just too small.
Yeah,
he's too small.
Look, there's being realistic.
For the record, Fred VanVleet does have a U team on the Under Armour circuit. So
on the rise, yes.
Yeah.
Team FVV. Shout out to Team Fred VanVleet.
Yeah, I got in a little, not in a skirmish necessarily, but a little discussion with their head coach at one point.
Oh,
yeah.
And
inside scoop on Sky, life was just a little bit too tough for him at Illinois. So I guess the Brad Underwood coaching wasn't really with Sky necessarily.
So yeah, and like imagine going back to the Cason in Toronto, like the switchability with him and Scottie on defense would be so fun. Like
sick.
That's
sick.
Like that's a USI dream right there. Like
because Scottie has potential to become defensive player of the year in the next few seasons. Like, that's what type of clamp Scottie Barnes has.
Yeah. So if you're Toronto, and if in that range, in that 8 range, you have guys potentially like maybe Nick Smith, Jarace Walker, Cam Whitmore, Asar Thompson, Cason, or Anthony Black. Do you think that Cason is the top guy on that list? Or do you think that Masai falls in love with Anthony Black, unfortunately, and he just decides to go all massive wings again?
I think that would be not a good go.
No, I mean,
I would not want Anthony Black on the Toronto Raptors.
Like,
no,
is Anthony Black?
It's not.
Has a type, baby.
Fitting.
Is Anthony Black? Is Anthony Black not what like Scottie's floor as an offensive player is? Like, he's just Scottie with a G next to his name rather than a F. Like, I don't know, man. I'm very intrigued. I'm sure this will be a conversation later on Anthony Black, but I just think Toronto desperately needs scoring from that position too, just considering the rest of their pieces.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think they need guard play though. Like you gotta have guard play, especially in the NBA too. Like guards are so good in the NBA, so you have to have guard play.
I just meant like an ability to create for yourself from outside too, as well as facilitate. So another guy that Austin and I love that you're familiar with that we wanted to talk to you about is Houston freshman Jarace Walker. 6'8", Does a little bit of everything. He's 62% at the rim, 39% from jumpers, 42% of his shots are jumpers, 32% of shots from three. He's shooting 39.3% from three. What about Jarace do you think makes him a great prospect for the next level? Or do you disagree?
I might catch some. No. I might catch some flack for what I'm about to say.
Ooh.
I think Jarace is a more offensively sounded and bigger Draymond Green.
Yo. Oh my god.
Oh, D.
Woo! I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. Like, he's got the rebounding.
Draymond is what you're saying.
He's got the rebound and passing, and he will not shoot like he has a backpack on.
Exactly. And
So bad, Draymond Green.
He has a high IQ. He's 6'8", 240. Like,
freak athlete. Thick and
athlete.
Thick and athletic.
Freak athlete.
He's got that Houston ass for sure. On our last podcast,
Jarace the Stallion.
Hook my man up with Megan the Stallion.
Jarace the Stallion.
Now,
yes.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So
some people might not like that, but that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
I mean, it's hard to disagree, right? He's got a 14.1 assist rate while he's still, like, as a freshman, not asked to do a bunch. He's got,
exactly.
Easily,
Marcus Sasser is the guy.
Marcus Sasser is the guy. Jamal Shed is the guy. Trayvon Mark is the guy. Yeah. They got like three guards that can do a shit ton. So like this is also why Houston is by far one of the most fun teams to watch, because they're all dogs on defense and they just play super selflessly and move the ball really well. Jarace also, to go with your take, 12.7 turnover rate. He's like just 0.6% worse than their lead guard, Marcus Sasser, who by all accounts is, take your pick between Kendrick Davis and Marcus Sasser about best point guard in the country, honestly. Do you see Jarace? Obviously, you see Jarace as a connector. Do you see Jarace?
Oh, for sure.
Do you see Jarace as like a primary weapon on offense? Or do you think he can be?
But I think him in the league is more so of a give me 12 points, give me 8 rebounds, give me 6 assists, give me 15 points, give me 8 rebounds, give me 6 assists type of player, depending on the system that he's in. I'm not saying that he's going to be like a way better Draymond in the sense of he'll go out there and give you 30 a game. Will he
30,
drop
10, and 8?
Will he drop 30 from time to time? Yes, because he has that offensive skill. But I think his average after a while will be between the 15 and 20 point per game range.
So
significantly better than Draymond Green.
Wow.
I am curious.
High right now from that take. Yeah. I am vibing.
Tuck usually is just microdosing on the podcast. He took a full 8. I fuck on Jarace Walker.
Yeah.
What did you? I mean, one of the biggest questions is, can Jarace play the 5? Is that a real possibility? Like, can he be the rim protector that Draymond Green is? I have my doubts there a little bit. If he can't play the 5, he has to play the 4. Is he going to play with the rim, like a floor spacing 5? Or if he's not, can he become the 3-point shooter that allows for floor spacing? Or can he become a top 5 short roll decision maker in the NBA? What did you see on the UA circuit that made you believe that Jarace could either be that shooter, that short roll guy, or maybe even that rim protector that allows him to play the 5?
I saw Jarace be a one-man wrecking ball while in UAA. Nobody could guard him. Nobody could score over him. Like it was crazy to watch him on the circuit. I do think that he can play the 5.
Who is the best guy that he went against where you're like, oh shit, this guy is different? Like, did he get to go up against Chet?
No, I don't think so. I don't know if he played 16s the year that
okay, he
was
wasn't
on
playing
17s.
Okay.
I don't know for sure. So I can't give you a for sure answer right there. Because he would have went up if he did. He would have went up against Eddie Lampkin at TCU and Chet
okay.
and got that.
That would have been a fun matchup.
Eddie was you couldn't move him. You still can't move him.
You can't move him. No.
But on the circuit, Eddie was 70 pounds heavy as at TCU.
What?
So, oh my god!
Try moving Eddie Lampkin at 300 pounds.
Kenny Lofton, like that's wild.
And but like, imagine back to Jarace.
Okay.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm just imagining like what, like Eddie Lampkin, thick as hell, talking shit. It would have been
exactly
like wild
with guard skills. That's the thing. Like, I don't think Jamie Dixon allows Eddie to really show his ball handling.
Let Eddie cook.
Let Eddie cook.
Eddie can handle the ball.
Yeah.
Get the ball out of Mike Miles' hands. Let Andy Lampkin initiate the offense.
I mean, like, I will never forget when TCU played Arizona in the tournament, and Eddie was just talking shit the entire game.
Oh,
and big time shit talker Kirk Creason was like, okay. Well, I'm not used to getting this back. But yeah, going back to Jarace. Sorry, I'm just thinking thick Eddie.
Yeah. So if he did, if he was playing 16Us and he played up as a 16-year-old while they were on the circuit as well, then that was a competition that he would have played. But I can't recall if he played up or not. And Jarace was a man amongst boys last year. So I don't think there's maybe another big that comes to mind.
Yeah.
But I do think Jarace can play the 5 in the league.
Okay.
Especially small ball 5. I don't think it's his primary position. I do think he's a small ball 5. I do think he will be able to space the floor. He's only going to continue to improve.
Yeah. Austin and I have, like, while taking this whole NBA draft and scouting thing very seriously and like developing this podcast, one thing we've been doing is creating soft rules to go by, little indicators that may not just be on the basketball court, but just like cerebrally tells you that a guy has it. And one of those things is the decision making on where you go to school. Jarace in Houston is maybe the smartest decision that any recruit made this offseason.
100%. We were talking about this last podcast, but you have to be a fucking psycho to want to play for St.
Kelvin Sampson. Yes.
Bro, they were talking on the broadcast.
Borderline, you have to be stupid.
Yeah, like that they spent the entire summer, their 8 weeks of practice, only working on defense. That's all they worked on. They didn't even work on offensive sets. To be a 5-star guy that's like a top 10 recruit in the country and be like, yeah, that's what I want to go do, you have to be a psychopath. You have to be a psycho.
He's a dog, though. So,
yeah.
And that's just what happens when you go and you prove that I can go play for a crazy motherfucker like Kelvin Sampson.
Yep.
He's in the top 200 for block rate too. Just going back to the idea of like him being a rim protector, he's able to defend at a high level, obviously, or else he wouldn't be playing on Kelvin's team.
And he will be able to guard guards.
So. Yeah. And what I love about him so much is that he's like a violent athlete that is super aggressive, but yet he's under control. Like you're not like, whoa, Jarace, you are out of control right now. You're making stupid decisions. It's like, no, he's really aggressive, but he still has control and good decision making on the defensive end while
He has
being
a
aggressive.
great motor.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He has a
Yep.
great motor.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why I have the Draymond Green type comparison. Yeah, Draymond can do some dumb
Yeah.
shit every now and then on defense, but for the most part, Draymond is a very smart and intelligent defender.
So with like kind of looking at the other power forward center combos that are in this draft class, where do you have him in comparison to say Cam and GG Jackson? Do you have him above those two or?
I do. I do. I do. I do.
Where
Especially over GG. Especially over GG.
yeah.
Talking about decision making while going to school.
Talk about where you want to go to school.
Yeah.
There's two guys that come to
Yeah.
mind for that. We're gonna get to the other one that is not GG Jackson. With Jarace though, is there a place you want him to land the most? Like kind of just looking at it, not ranking, but so like six on is okay, 5 on Detroit, Charlotte, San Antonio, Toronto, Detroit.
Detroit is probably where I see him because when you asked that before even knowing what order you're going to, Detroit was the first place that came to mind. You put Jaden Ivey, Kate Cunningham, Jalen Duren, and Jarace Walker on the court together. I'm sorry, that is
you
nice
just booting out Isaiah Stewart.
Isaiah's gonna fight you on his way out.
Isaiah
He's not going
go.
out.
I would not mess with Isaiah Stewart, bro.
Bye.
Yo, I was at the Blazers Pistons game and like low key, like they're the bad boys again. Like Isaiah Stewart just hacks the shit out of everybody.
But you replace Isaiah Stewart with a smarter defender, and not just somebody that's out there trying to take your head off.
Like, yo, is Jarace like not just Draymond with better shooting, but is he not Trevion Williams with like more physical attributes? Like he kind of has a similar like ability to pass. We saw that with Jaden at Purdue, and like when those two were right, they were great together. I think that's super interesting to have 3 passers like Jaden, Cade, and Jarace would be
now
cool.
offense just flows instead of us running sets, we run actions, and you guys determine where the ball goes and how it gets there.
It's a bummer
it makes the game so much easier.
It's a bummer that Bogdan wouldn't be there probably next season because that dude would feast with those 3 guys next to him.
He would. He would.
So
and I think Jarace to Detroit helps Jaden Ivey.
Yeah, totally.
You're talking to 2 people that are not high on Jaden Ivey. So
yeah, it's really fast.
He's fast. He's sure fast.
Sometimes too fast.
Does he do anything else?
He'll continue to develop.
Yeah, that's true. He's like taking 2 big steps. I feel like he took a huge step his freshman season into his sophomore season, and then I don't know what you can make of this Detroit team because like simply they're obviously trying to tank, and then on top of that, the whole thing for Jaden this season was learning to play off ball more with Cade, and that
and Cade's hurt, so now you got to put the ball in his hand.
Yeah, and
so
all right. So moving on from Jarace, here's a guy we'd love your takes on because I was high on him going into this season just because I thought he was really interesting in terms of his athleticism, and he seemed super fluid in prep school, high school, before college. That's Oregon's Khalil Ware. Khalil came in as a bona fide center prospect into a very crowded center position at Oregon with Napoli Dante and Nathan Biddle. He's only playing around 21 minutes per game, averaging 8.5 points, 5 rebounds, 0.9 assists. Where do you see Khalil at the next level, or how do you see him progressing towards the draft?
So I got to see Khalil at USA U18 tryouts in Houston this past summer. And I wasn't high on him. Yes, he's very athletic. Yes, you probably can throw it to the rim, and 10 times out of 10, he'll catch a lob. But there's nothing more that he does than that. Maybe he rebounds the ball, but if anything, he's a Nick Claxton in the league.
Ooh.
A role player, big man that's gonna screen and roll and dive to the rim.
Yo, the energy in this podcast from us shouting about Jarace, it feels like we're at a funeral right now.
Okay, I just so I grew up an Oregon State fan, so I have just an utter disdain for the University of Oregon, and I have really Dana Altman pilled Tuck Clary.
No. You did not Dana Altman pill me. I came to you and I was like, hey, can we talk about Dana Altman in 5 stars? And you're like, brother, this has been my agenda for my entire life.
For a long time. Dee, do you know how many 5-star prospects, strictly 5-star prospects, that Dana Altman has brought in the 10 years that he has been coach at the University of Oregon?
It's under 7. It might even be under.
He's had 10 5-star prospects. None of them have panned out except for Bol Bol, who barely played.
And where was Bol Bol drafted?
Yeah, in the 2nd round. Yeah, we're talking about. We'll run through it very quickly. CJ Walker, where the hell is he? Lewis King, Jabari Brown, Mookie Cook, we'll see. Nafali Dante, Kwame Evans, we'll see. Troy Brown, Khalil Ware, we'll see, and then Bol Bol. And then he's got a ton of 4-star guys too. I mean,
and Kwame's still in high school, right? Kwame's only committed to them right now, right?
Yeah, Kwame and Mookie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I haven't seen Mookie Cook, but I did get to see Kwame. I got to see Kwame. He was at Elite 24, and he's just a big.
Yeah. I mean, the point here is that Dana Altman gets high-level recruits at probably as good of a level, if not better, than any non-blue blood school in America, and has done less with more than any coach in college basketball. That dude has had so much talent come through Oregon and has done nothing with them. The only time that they have truly been a contending team is when they had Peyton Pritchard, who is just a fucking winner. That's it. So when a guy chooses Oregon, I'm immediately like, don't believe in you. Just won't believe in you. And Khalil Ware
is that part Dana Altman, or is that part Dana Altman, part State fandom, or is that just like
it's part Dana Altman, it's part guy just choosing Oregon because of Nike. It's also like, what Oregon players have been good in the NBA? Like, I mean, if you like Dylan Brooks, I mean, I got questions about
my favorite team is the Grizzlies, and I pray we trade him every day.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to look up and be like Dylan Brooks to Detroit for Bogdanovich. Yes.
Yeah. Like Grizzly fans are so done. They're so done with Dylan Brooks, man. He is not a good NBA player. Like, he's actively bad. He is the biggest flaw with the Grizzlies by far. So I mean, he has not panned out any NBA talent except for, I guess, Bol Bol, which you would have said that before this season.
Yeah. This is
because when he was in Denver, he didn't play. So
right, this is 20 games. We're saying Bol Bol is a success story after 20 games. I'm not.
He's probably going to be MIP this year.
Probably. I don't know. They've turned the MIP into like, who's the best MVP player that we can't give MVP to? Like, I don't know, man. But with Khalil, I want you to guess. What do you think Khalil Ware, Khalil Ware's percentage field goal percentage at the rim in transition is
60%.
60%. Try 33%. Six,
That
7
is
footer,
terrible.
7-foot gazelle that is just unable to finish at the rim.
That is terrible. Dunk the ball.
He's 62% at the rim in non-transition, so that's clearly lobs. Yeah, he's a 29% shooter from 3. And like
Yeah, no. He can't shoot.
and
No.
but also with like the guys around him, like that's just how is he supposed to improve and how is he supposed to get space to improve with all the front court pieces are centers? It's not like Will Richardson is like a facilitating guard or a guard that's trying to get guys clean looks predominantly. It I feel like yeah, best case scenario Nick Claxton, which is like kind of a bummer because I thought he had some range to like develop into it. You know what's interesting? I feel like
Here's the thing: Nick Claxton is such a better decision maker and could do way more with the ball at Georgia than Khalil Ware can do. I like
that's fair. That's fair.
Like Khalil Ware, to me, the only upside with him, and this is, meaningful, is as a secondary defender that comes over and is an off-ball rim protector. Outside of that, I don't see it. Like, and it's just a strict lob threat. But man, his decision making is slow. Like he doesn't know what he wants to do with the ball. Like I was watching him against Colorado, and I was just like, man, you are afraid to do anything with the basketball. You can't wait to give this thing up. And then he finally had to shoot it because he couldn't get it to anybody. And that shot release is long and slow, long and slow.
Oof.
It's tough.
It's tough.
That's tough.
D, would you take him in the first round?
No. I would tell him to go back to school. If I'm an NBA executive, I would tell him to go back to school.
Transfer.
Yeah. Wow. Outside of Vic, is there a center, like clear center that you're high on in this draft class?
You can't say Jarace Walker.
Yeah. To me, I don't think he'll play the 5 predominantly in the league, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't say Jarace. No. Zach Edey, if he goes to the right team. And they used him in the right way.
Would you take Kyle Filipowski before Khalil Ware?
Oh yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Is a much more offensive ready player than Khalil Ware.
He's just going to be a nightmare on the defensive end, but he can shoot.
Yeah, he's a good passer too. Really good decision maker, honestly.
And he can handle the ball too. So it's not like you can't put the ball in his hands.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to me that what that dude.
But I think he might be a 4 in the league, depending on what he's with.
Yeah, it's so wild to me.
He's a 4 for Duke right now because they start young at the 5.
Yeah, they they don't start Derek Lively.
Whoa. Yeah, we're not even going to talk about Derek Lively probably at all because my man is not getting a good look in the league. I think he's got to come back.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Right? Like at best case scenario, he's like a middle of the second round pick at this point.
At best, yeah. I have him at like 42, 43. Yeah, I would take Deron Holmes before Derek Lively.
Oh, he's dating.
He's saying,
but I don't think he's like a league type. Like
no. I just mean like
player, but
I just mean second round talent. Yeah. Like,
all right. Say something nice about Auburn, Tuck. Would you take Janai Broom or would you take Derek Lively in the draft?
I would take Derek Lively.
Oh, okay. All right. I tried, Auburn fans. I tried.
Nah. Janai Broom at a higher level of competition. No
Yeah.
thanks.
All right.
No
I
thanks.
tried. I
I'm
tried.
out.
I'm
I'm
not going to
out.
say
Are
anything.
are
I'm not
are
going to say anything nice about Auburn, but
are you against Auburn? Is
Oh
we have a
my
long
god.
history.
Oh, it's
We have a very rocky relationship with the Auburn fan base.
yeah.
man? They are some hardos. So
Is
A
there is
lot of non-ball knowers over there in Auburn, Alabama.
yeah.
It all started with, and I know you'll be on the right side of history here, but the Chet versus Jabari debate. Um,
mm,
and that's when things really went south,
Yeah.
you know. For the record, I'm assuming you would take Chet Holmgren over Jabari Smith Jr.
oh, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
I think Chet would be right there with Paolo in the race for rookie of the.
Wow. So you're there even after what Paulo has done this season, just being just a consistent 20 and 10 guy, basically. Like borderline all-star. Like you can make a case for Paulo being an all-star if he was, not in the Eastern
For
Conference.
sure.
Um,
And I think he still might make it.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, with Chet, man. Like, okay, so take Victor off the table. Who would be the most fun? Because I'm just like I'm from Washington State. So the Oklahoma City Thunder, I have to despise. Like, there's just a part of me. You stole the Sonics from me. Clay Bennett, go fuck yourself. But like, dude, the Thunder are about to be so damn fun. Like Shea, Josh Giddey's becoming a consistent 3-point shooter. Chet is going to be absurd in the PNR lob threat, and then just unstoppable, weak side defense coming in to protect the rim. Not counting Vic, who is the guy that you think would be the most fun to get on the Thunder?
Hmm. Probably Amen.
Ooh,
Oh.
Just because, okay, Shea's gonna do Shea. So if you get that freak of an athlete to where Shea and Josh can get out in the open court and Amen just run with them, it'll be a dunk show every time rim for Amen.
oh my god.
And you surround Amen with Chet, who's a good decision maker. Shay's a good decision maker.
Josh, who's a good
Josh is a
decision maker.
great decision maker. And if Amen is just like, hey, I don't really have to worry about shooting because I'm just gonna cut, and the floor is completely spaced, as long as Josh is a good 3-point shooter, yeah, that'd be super fun. That'd be super fun.
The
Tuck,
league
what's
needs
your,
to the league needs to have like 40 teams at this point. It's too deep.
yeah,
It's too
I
deep. It's
know.
too deep.
Expand to Seattle.
Yeah, Bill,
Expand
give
to
give
Las
give us like
Vegas.
6 more teams at least, bro.
Yeah.
Like this is getting insane.
I think in the next CBA they're gonna talk adding 2 more teams.
Yeah, I think Vegas
So
and Seattle will
Like,
then that'll push
yeah,
Memphis
yeah,
back
they'll be
to
the
yeah,
only
where
rightfully
we
so.
belong.
Rightfully
Yeah.
so.
We
And
belong.
like,
Yeah, you guys aren't Western Conference.
yeah, that
You're
sucks. I hate it. I hate it when the Blazers play you guys in Memphis because it's like a 4 p.m. game. Like,
yeah, sucks.
Yeah.
um, like, yeah, the NBA needs to expand to like somewhere between 32 and 34 teams. They're clearly only going to add 2 at most. But like, if you expand the league and drop the games down to like 60 games a season, that's already all 3 of our favorite sport and professional sport. But like that would be the best professional sport by far in America, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I even think like you could play like 65 games and it'd still be
Yeah.
all right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Maybe 70, but 82, that's a lot. That's
82
a lot.
so much. 82 so much, especially with like how they travel now. And like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting because like the league knows that the quality of competition is like watered down, and then like they also are like trying to punish teams for resting guys, and it's like
But I think
that.
that's why I want to try to do the in-season tournament and things like that to try to incentivize not resting your players and things like that.
Yeah. Is there anybody else you want to talk about?
Not right now. No, I think I covered it.
Yeah, yeah.
But for all
Well,
you
we've
guys
gone
out
about
there,
an hour and a half.
Jarace will be nice.
Jarace,
Jarace Walker for
Jarace,
president in
Jarace,
2028.
Jarace will be very, very nice. Dee, thank you so much for joining us. Dee Coleman @_Dee Coleman on Twitter. Thank you so much for your time, and we hope to talk to you again soon.
I appreciate you guys. And I will, anytime you guys need me, just give me a call and I'll pop up and give some takes that people might not agree with.
Yo, give us more Draymond comps. That was that good stuff, man.